The Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension and rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union, along with their respective allies, from the end of World War II in 1945 to the early 1990s. It was characterized by intense political, economic, and military competition without direct armed conflict between the two superpowers. Causes of the Cold War. Ideological differences. The United States advocated for capitalism and democracy, while the Soviet Union promoted communism and centralized control. These conflicting ideologies created deep mistrust and suspicion between the two powers. World War II. Despite being allies during World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union had different post-war objectives. The Soviet Union sought to maintain a sphere of influence in Eastern Europe, which clashed with American goals of self-determination and the spread of democracy. Nuclear arms race. The development of atomic weapons by both the United States and the Soviet Union heightened tensions. The arms race created a state of mutually assured destruction, as both sides accumulated large arsenals of nuclear weapons. Proxy wars. The United States and the Soviet Union engaged in conflicts around the world through indirect means. These proxy wars, such as the Korean War and the Vietnam War, allowed both superpowers to support opposing sides and advance their own interests without direct confrontation. Conflicts during the Cold War. Berlin Blockade and airlift, 1948–1949. The Soviet Union blocked land access to West Berlin, leading to a massive airlift operation by the United States and its allies to provide vital supplies to the city. Korean War, 1950–1953. The Korean Peninsula was divided after World War II, with North Korea, supported by the Soviet Union, invading South Korea, supported by the United States. The conflict ended in a stalemate, with the division of Korea remaining to this day. Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. The closest the world came to a direct confrontation between the United States and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union's placement of nuclear missiles in Cuba led to a tense standoff, which was eventually resolved diplomatically. Consequences of the Cold War. Bipolar world. The Cold War led to the division of the world into two ideological and military blocs. The United States and its allies formed NATO, while the Soviet Union and its allies formed the Warsaw Pact. This division shaped international relations for decades. Arms control treaties. Both superpowers engaged in arms control negotiations to prevent the escalation of the arms race. Examples include the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, SALT, and the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, INF. Space race. The competition between the United States and the Soviet Union extended to space exploration. The Soviet Union launched the first artificial satellite, Sputnik, and sent the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space, while the United States eventually landed astronauts on the moon. Proxy conflicts. The Cold War saw numerous proxy wars, particularly in developing countries. These conflicts had lasting impacts on the affected regions, leading to political instability, economic devastation, and loss of life. Fall of the Soviet Union. The Cold War ultimately ended with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. The Soviet economy was unable to keep up with the military spending required to compete with the United States, and internal political and social pressures led to its dissolution. Overall, the Cold War had far-reaching consequences that shaped the world order and international relations for several decades. It left a lasting legacy of geopolitical tension, nuclear proliferation concerns, and regional conflicts.